Welcome to SNG. We're in the garage early this morning. We're going to put these lifters and lifter blocks in the 80 cubic inch 91 Electroglide. And if you've already subscribed, thank you, it's appreciated. If you haven't, consider it. And you know the rest, right? You want to be notified the next time I make fun of my fat bastard Buddy Jones? Hit that notification bug bell flower and it will do whatever it does. So before I get started, and if you don't want to hear me ramble and get into detail, pass by this hokey pokey stuff. But I do have to say a couple things. I'd like to say a couple things. Thank you to all of the people out on YouTube that put these videos together. This channel is all about people that aren't necessarily mechanics, aren't necessarily motorcycle mechanics, to be able to work on their own stuff. If you get the sickness and you start buying old bikes, and especially vintage bikes, you're going to have to work on them, unless you've got lots of money. So, and you can afford to pay someone else to do it. So, what I'd like to say is I have had the luxury, and the reason I thank everyone out there, I've had the luxury to watch multiple videos on doing all this stuff. I also have experience on doing some of this stuff. So you combine your real world experience with the knowledge of others, and you get your right manuals and you read your right paperwork and read instructions, and you will be fine. When you make a mistake, you're going to learn from it. And what we want to do is keep you from making the big dollar mistakes. So thank you to everyone. What's nice is I can watch 15 videos, read things. Each one of those people are parroting what they've learned, what their mentor has taught them. And some mentors have taught people different things. So each person has a little different angle and maybe add one thing that someone else may have missed. And what's cool is if I watch 18 videos, I can do my best to remember all those little pieces and put it together to try to create a video that has as many of the details in it as you can. So if you're not into details, I'm not the dude to watch, for sure. So my brain doesn't work like that. It's a curse. So these lifter blocks, or tappet blocks, okay? The previous video showed us prepping these and getting them all ready to roll. I am going to now give you an idea of, I've got the old lifters, and let me tell you the first thing you want to do, or you may want to do. I haven't done this before, but I'm trying it. I got a red Solo cup full of bourbon. It's actually full of oil. The oil that goes in my bike, some 20W50 straight weight, or not straight weight, but it's too early. I've got synthetic oil is what I choose to use. I put some 20W50 in this cup. I dropped my lifters or tappets, whatever you want to call them, with the rollers down. And I dropped them in this, and they've been sitting in here for a day or two. Probably longer because it's taken me longer to put this stuff together. But what will happen is bubbles will start to come out, and you'll fill them full of oil. Now, I've never done that before, but I saw that on a video. So I figured I'd give it a try. I also will show you how to clear them out with an oil pump and work to make sure that they're pumped up. But I figured, I'll give it a try. One thing I was going to try for you HVAC guys out there, Slick, I know you're an HVAC guy. I think Mo, I think you've done some HVAC in your past. I think one of the other guys is an instrumentation guy, is familiar with HVAC. I had a mason jar. I soldered a 1/4 inch copper tap, Schrader valve, core valve, on top of that, on the cap. And we used to put R11 in it and, you know, keep the R11 below about, I don't know, 70 degrees or something, and it won't boil. So, so put it in the refrigerator or whatever, and you can take the cap off, and that R11 will just sit in there, and then we would put the cap on, and you could put a vacuum pump on it, and you could watch that all of a sudden start to boil once you started to draw a vacuum on it. I saw somebody that had a mason jar like that. They put oil in the mason jar, dropped these tappets down in, and drew a vacuum on it, and just sucked them. Bubbles, you just saw them just come right out of the oil, which was pretty cool. I was looking for that because I had that at one time, couldn't find it, so anyhow, that's that story. So here's the deal with these. They're marked front and rear. If you're putting in new, these are existing tappet blocks that I took off the bike. These are my old ones, so I just wanted to show you, they have an oil hole here. That's what feeds the oil to pump the tappet up, and to also go in, come through the center of this tappet, goes up your push rods and oils the upper end of your motor. So there's a big deal on, you know, which way those holes should go. Should they go pointing toward each other? Should they go toward both of them toward the engine itself? Should they go blah, blah, blah? Well, with an Evolution engine, it really doesn't matter. This is cut out to where the oil will travel all the way around, and it will go in that hole regardless of the position. Now, if you're working on twin cams, you want to face both of these toward the cylinders. And I believe here it says M8 engines, you put the holes toward each other. So again, you need your manual. Make sure that you're not doing what I'm saying, working on a different engine. I'm on an 80 cubic inch Evolution engine. So if I know, here's how I do it. I know my oil comes in this side, feeds into this side of this lifter, goes around, goes through a hole into this side to the lifter. So I put my holes toward the engine, both of them. So that hole I will have toward the oil hole, closer to the oil hole, so that it doesn't have, let me drop that in there. Let me see here, there we go. And I'll take my other one, and I'll face it toward that one. So both of my holes are facing this way toward my oil. So my oil comes in, goes in, hits this hole, right? Travels around, goes through the hole here in the center, and goes into this hole. Would it matter if they were flipped around? I don't believe it will. Makes me feel good, so I do it that way. So be aware of that, and also be aware that if you're working on different engines, make sure you follow the instructions so that you are good to go. One thing I wanted to say before we start putting these tappet blocks on is lifters. I chose to use fueling lifters that I'm dropping in these tappet blocks. Fueling part number 4061. These are HP Plus lifters. You can use S&S, you can use fueling, you can use, you know, Andrews. You can pretty much use any type you want. That's that. I also wanted to let you know about the gaskets for the tappet blocks. I got the gaskets, they're James gaskets. I got it out of a kit because I was in the cam chest and I wanted all the gaskets, so I bought a kit. Kit number, you can buy these separately, or you can buy the kit at, number is JGI-25225-70-K as in kite X xylophone. So there's that. People have said, hey man, give me your part numbers. And I typically don't do that. So I thought I'd try to throw that out there. So I'm ready to start to install my tappet guides, lifter blocks, tappet blocks, all in the all the same. This happens to be one here. The bottom of them are marked rear and front, so this is going to be the rear. Previous video I showed prepping all this stuff, so if you want to see how to clean out all of these holes, chase these threads, make sure that you're ready to go, pop back and watch an earlier video. This is just the installation video. So what I'll do is I will take my rear tappet block, and I will take my rear gasket, and you can see here is the oil hole that will match up with the oil hole right here. Probably see this oil hole a little better on this side. But so I will take that and I will drop that gasket on and make sure that everything matches. This gasket is specifically for the rear. The other gasket won't work. What you want to make sure is that when you line this up, that all these holes are punched out correctly, and more than anything, that once they're all where they want to be, that the oil hole isn't shifted over like that and have a bad gasket. So know that your gasket is correct. All of my flanges and bases have been cleaned already, and what I'm going to do is I am going to take a little bit of white lithium grease, and I do this probably because I watched videos of Pacific Mike, and he's an advocate on these style gaskets of using a little bit of white lithium grease. So, and he does this, that's his gig, man. He's the man. So I figure good enough for him, good enough for me. You know, and you want to watch, you don't want to have too much on it, but you want to get them coated on both sides. You don't want to fill up any holes. And I'm going to drop this, which is off camera. I'm going to drop this on the rear gasket. And wipe my hands off. And then what I'm going to do is let me show you something here. I'll kind of redo this a little bit. Bear with me. So here's the deal here. I put my tappets, which I showed in another video, inside some oil. So all 4 of my tappets are in here. And what I want to do is, for now, I want to get those and make sure that they are pumped up, meaning that they're full of oil, they're hard. They need to be that way for me to properly adjust the push rods. So I have some 20W50 oil, which is the same oil that goes in the engine that is in this cup. And I'm going to grab one of these tappets out. What a mess, huh? And they claim that if you leave them in this oil, that they're already filled, but I don't know. I'm not going to take a chance. I am going to need a rag's what I need. I'll take this. I'm going to take my oiler. Here's my oil hole. I'm going to stick this oiler right on that oil hole, and I'm going to start to pump. Did you see the air come out? Watch the top. See the air bubbles? And I'm going to pump till right there I see no more air bubbles. Now I'm just going to quick, all the oil's coming out. Okay? You can go the opposite direction and go back and forth if you want to make sure that we're good. Pump it out this way. But I like to come right to this hole, pump, and I know that one is good. I'm going to do that to each one of these lifters to make sure that they're all pumped up. And then I will come back and we will start to put these in. I'll show you. And I'll grab myself a rag too. Hopefully you will be able to see. So I have pumped up, and I think that you know, the rollers are nice and lubed. Obviously, I don't know that this is necessary to put them in a cup of oil. I don't think it would hurt at all, but it is messy. So I'm going to take my rear lifter that I've already put my gasket on, and I'm going to take one of, here's my oil hole that I'm going to have. If I turn this over, it'll be toward me. Okay, and I am going to take one of these tappets or lifters, and let me get it out, and I will get here. I want to kind of keep them upright so the oil doesn't come out of them. And I am going to find the oil hole, which is right here, and I'm going to put that oil hole toward this oil hole right here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab another one. And I'm going to put this oil hole toward same direction I put the other one, toward that oil hole. And honestly, on the Evolution engines, it doesn't matter because the oil will go around that lifter and get to the hole anyhow. So don't sweat the small stuff on that, which I typically do. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, you can do one of two things. When you're ready to put this in, you can either hold this and put your fingers through this side and hold these lifters that I just put in up in there to where you don't want those lifters to fall out and hit your cam and ding your cam lobes. Or you don't want to drop them down into your, be trying to fish them out. I have invested in a magnet that I can put in here. And then I don't have to worry about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my oil hole here is in position. Here's my oil hole with this oil hole here. Very important. So now that my magnet's on, I'm not going to drop my lifters down in my cam chest. I'm going to kind of rock this in. Nice and gentle. Okay. I'm going to get that to set down in, and I felt it seat down in. Okay. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and wipe my hands off here, because they're a mess. Wipe this off a little bit. And I picked up some centering tools for tappet blocks for Evolution engines. I think you can use them for more than that. And they come 4 pins. They're like this. They're tapered. Okay. So what you can do is you can put one of these pins through your tappet block, through your gasket, into the hole. And I'll typically use 2 of them, one on diagonally across from each other. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the heads of these are 5/16. And some of these back ones can be a little bit of a bear. So what I'll do is not waste your time. I'm going to go grab a tool that I neglected to get. And I am going to tighten these 2 centering pins up to where I just feel them seat against the aluminum block. And that's going to do two things for me. It's going to align this actual lifter block. And a lot of people, you know, yes, it will align for the oil hole. Oil hole should be pretty good. What that's doing is you have to remember that these lifters are set in here and they don't move. So you getting this much play, I don't know if you can see the top, okay? If that is that much off one way, riding that cam, you're gonna put stress on the roller of your lifter in a direction it's not going. So you wanna make sure your lifters are straight. So not only does it align the gasket and the oil hole, really doesn't align the gasket, but it damn sure aligns this block the proper way to where your roller on your lifter is riding your cam in the right position. So with that, I'm gonna tighten that up and I'll be right back. I have these two centering tools tightened down, and they're not, I didn't tighten them much. You know, I just have them a little snug, both here, okay? And at this point, what I can do is I can take my magnet out and let my lifters, you might be able to see my lifters down here. Move this a little bit. You'll see my lifters drop down when I take that magnet out. See that drop? So let me do one thing here. All right. So what we'll do is I want to make sure now, I will get in and look. Let's see here. Here we go. I will make sure that both of those lifters, all right, and you can see right there, the rollers. What I want to do is I want to make sure that they're sitting nice on top of those cam lobes, and I'm ready to start tightening things up. I think I look pretty good in there. All right. So just to remind everybody, the actual prep for this was done in another video because I wanted to keep these videos a little shorter. So cleaning up these gasket areas, cleaning up the all thread, or not all thread, but the thread lock, you know, inside these holes, cleaning them up, blowing them out with air to make sure that there's no liquid, no oil inside any of these holes so that we don't create any issues or problems with our case, is all in the previous video. So if you're looking for something that you know, you might want to watch it in sequence, that way you'll know. But I'd like to get your input on this. The Harley manual does not say anything about there we go. The Harley manual doesn't say anything about any Loctite on any of this stuff. Now, I know there was Loctite on this when it came out of the factory because I saw it. I cleaned it up. So I am going to use just a very little bit of the blue Loctite. Although a lot of the videos I watched, nobody talked about Loctite. And I am putting these in now, after I have my two centering pins in and snugged down. Not tight, but just snug. And I'll go ahead and screw this down by hand. Cleaning all those threads out and cleaning the threads of your bolts, getting all your Loctite off of them makes just assembly go so much better. So I'm just going to go until I feel it kind of snug up a little bit. I already put my back bolt in. I might have to get this started here. All right. Yeah, I'm going in. I was gonna say. So I'm gonna put a little snugness to it, a little snugness to this one, enough to where I know they're not gonna move. I'll torque them later. Okay, and now I can go ahead and take out the centering pins. I'll take one out. And when I put these centering pins in, I do try to put one where the oil hole is and then diagonal across from the oil hole. But again, the centering pin to me is more for centering this block, not only over the oil hole, but over top of the cam so the rollers are rolling correctly. So I will put these other two bolts in, and these are 1/4 inch 12-point socket is what you'll need for that. And again, watch cross threading because it is aluminum and you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to deal with that, right? So I will finish putting this one in. I'm going to take this pin out, centering pin, put the other one in, and get all 4 of them snug, and I'll be back. Well, I'm torquing these 4 bolts for this tappet block, and unfortunately my smaller torque wrench doesn't go up in inch-pounds enough to get the 12 to 15 foot-pounds that they're calling for this block to be down. So I know I'm using a swivel, not supposed to on a torque wrench, but you know what? Most of the people, 90% of the people I see do this don't even use a torque wrench. So I want to be somewhere pretty close, so I put it at 13 foot-pounds, and as you can see as I tighten, it's set for a little bit, so I squish that gasket, and I'm going to come diagonally across and go straight as I can. Goes there. Go here. Go there. And one in the back that's a little bit of a bear to get to, and one of the reasons that I need the swivel, because I don't need it for the front too. But these 2 back ones are a bear. And I need to get one of those flexible wire. It would be nice. So make sure I'm on good. There we go. So that was the second time around. So I feel confident that those 4 are torqued and are positioned straight. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. Lithium grease gasket, make sure my gasket fits, everything's already cleaned up. I'm going to put my tappets that are already pumped up into my tappet block or tappet guide. Stick it down, put my 2 centering tools, one here by the oil port, one here, center it down, torque these snug, and start to diagonal, go across and tighten that one up. And once we have those all tightened up, we'll be back. I also wanted to let you all know that I did hit the inside of the tappet guides, lifter blocks, lifter guides with assembly lube. And that's the kind of assembly lube that I use. I use the assembly lube all in the cam chest. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I had this filled up with a pint of oil. I made sure that I kept a cover on it so I don't have stuff. I have been pouring this pint of oil down into my cam chest. So I'm going to finish this off by dumping the rest of 1 pint of oil down into my cam chest. So I'm good and lubed up between this oil and assembly lube. I should have no issues. I'm not going to be firing anything up on dry gears or dry cam lobes or drive rollers. And then I will take my lifter block. I'll make sure I have my oil hole lined up, that is in the right spot. I will set that in there. And again, that's why you want your centering. I will put my 2 centering pins, one at the oil hole, one here, snug them down, get some blue Loctite, snug these down, take my centering pins out, retorque that, and then both lifter blocks will be on and hopefully in a good spot, right? So I appreciate you watching. I hope I caught everything. Pretty sure I did to this point. The next video will be putting the actual lifters in and the cover tubes and getting everything set and adjusting the lifters. And man, we'll be barreling down on this. You know, timing, exhaust, floorboard, carb cover, cleaner, you know, a couple pieces, parts here, oil change, oil filter, and this baby's ready to spool down the road. So if you get a chance, smash that monkey, stomp on that bug, pat that poodle bug, whatever you're supposed to do. And remember, if you ride them, you're going to wrench them, but only if you want to. See ya.